For Kep1er fans, the departure of Seo Youngeun on March 6 wasn't just a lineup change but a heartbreaking culmination of months of uncertainty, marking the group's third major shift after members Mashiro and Yeseo left in 2024. Although the agency Kpop1er framed the exit as a mutual decision following an 8-month health hiatus, the timing sparked immediate backlash. The remaining 6 members were spotted flying to Japan just hours after the news broke, with Xiaoting and Hikaru appearing visibly emotional in sunglasses, leading fans to criticize the company's insensitivity in forcing them to face the public so soon. The situation felt even more poignant given Youngeun's recent loss of her father, which fans speculated contributed to her need to step back from the grueling idol lifestyle. Yet the swift digital erasure of her from the group's Instagram and the announcement of a new comeback only 2 days later left a bitter taste, painting a picture of an industry moving on too fast. Despite the corporate coldness, Youngeun's own gracious letter and leader Chaeyoung's reassurance that this was a personal choice offered fans a measure of comfort, emphasizing that her well-being was the priority in a career that had demanded so much from her so young. To understand the weight of this moment, you have to rewind to last summer when the first cracks started to show. It wasn't a dramatic scandal or a sudden controversy that took Youngeun off the board initially. It was a quiet, concerning notice from Kpop1er Entertainment. The agency released a statement explaining that Youngeun would be stepping back from all group activities due to health concerns. It's the standard industry phrase, health concerns, a vague umbrella term that covers everything from physical exhaustion to severe mental burnout. At the time, the company emphasized that medical professionals had advised her to rest and stabilize, making it clear that her recovery was the absolute priority. Fans, of course, were worried, but there was a collective hope that this was just a temporary pause. In the K-pop industry, hiatuses due to health are becoming more common, and idols often return after a few months of rest, so the fandom settled into a nervous waiting game, assuming Youngeun would eventually reclaim her spot in the formation. However, the silence that followed was deafening. As weeks turned into months, Youngeun remained absent from schedules, and the group promoted as sixth. The optimism that carried the fandom through the initial announcement began to curdle into unease. 8 months is a long time in the life of a temporary project group, and the landscape of Kep1er had already shifted dramatically in 2024. Earlier, members Mashiro and Yeseo had left the group after their contract concluded, shrinking the ensemble and forcing the remaining members to reorganize. That first lineup change was a massive adjustment, but fans rallied behind the new formation. Seeing Youngeun step away now, just as the group was trying to stabilize, felt like a second gut wound. The official statement from Kpop1er and Kpop Entertainment on March 6 tried to frame the exit as a mutual decision, the result of long internal conversations and in-depth discussions about her future direction. But corporate language rarely soothes the sting of loss, especially for a group that has been through as much turbulence as Kep1er. The timing of the announcement is where the story shifts from sad to genuinely controversial. Mere hours after telling the world that Youngeun was gone, the remaining 6 members, Yoojin, Chaeyoung, Daeyeon, Hikaru, and Bahi, were spotted at the airport, bags packed and ready to fly to Japan for the ENA K-pop Upchart show in Yokohama. It was a jarring visual. Fans watched clips of their favorites walking through the terminal, and the mood was palpably heavy. Viewers noticed that Xiaoting and Hikaru were wearing sunglasses indoors, a detail that sent the rumor mill into overdrive. Were they hiding red, puffy eyes? Had they been crying just moments before facing the cameras? It felt incredibly insensitive to ask these young women, who were likely processing the departure of their close friend and teammate, to immediately slap on a professional smile and jet off to another country. The optics were terrible, and fans didn't hold back. Comments flooded social media, criticizing the management for making the girls face the public so soon after such a traumatic announcement. The juxtaposition of a heartbreaking farewell and a business-as-usual flight schedule highlighted the cold, mechanical reality of the idol industry. But the anger didn't stop at the airport schedule. As fans dissected the timeline, darker theories began to emerge regarding Youngeun's well-being. It wasn't just about physical health anymore. The narrative took a sharp turn toward personal tragedy. Fans recalled that Youngeun had suffered a devastating loss the previous year when her father passed away. The timing of her initial hiatus and now her departure aligned suspiciously close to the anniversary of his passing. It was a painful connection that many overlooked until the dots were connected on fan forums. The realization that Youngeun had been promoting intensely while carrying that grief added a layer of guilt to the fandom's sorrow. One particularly viral comment pointed out the alleged ruthlessness of the schedule. schedule, noting that the company had her flying and performing right after her father's funeral, and now, a year later, she was being ushered out the door. Whether this is a definitive reason for her departure remains unconfirmed, but the emotional weight of that possibility reshaped how fans viewed the health concerns cited by the agency. It stopped being about simple exhaustion and started looking like a desperate need for healing that the idol lifestyle simply couldn't accommodate. Then came the digital erasure, a phenomenon that K-pop fans have come to dread. Almost immediately after the news broke, eagle-eyed netizens noticed that Kep1er's official Instagram account had unfollowed Youngeun. In the grand scheme of things, an unfollow might seem trivial, but in the world of idol branding, it is a loud statement. It signals the finality of the split in a way that feels aggressive and premature. For fans still mourning, seeing her digital presence scrubbed from the group's main hub felt like salt in an open wound. It stripped away the polite veneer of the official statement, which promised support and mutual respect, and replaced it with a cold, administrative cleanup. The speed of this action left a bad taste in the mouths of many, suggesting that the company was more eager to move on to the next chapter than to honor the history Youngeun had with the team. And if the unfollow felt rushed, the announcement of Kep1er's next comeback, which dropped just 2 days later, felt like a slap in the face. While the industry is a machine that never stops, the optics of promoting a new album on the heels of a member's tearful exit are undeniably poor. Fans were left reeling, trying to mourn the loss of a beloved member while simultaneously being bombarded with teasers for new music. It felt jarring, a dissonant chord struck in the middle of a requiem. One fan's comment perfectly encapsulated the mood, arguing that it felt like the company was wiping their hands of Youngeun and immediately pivoting to profit, effectively telling fans, okay, she's gone, now buy this. It's a harsh reality of the K-pop business model. The show must go on, schedules are set in stone, and financial investments must be recouped. But that doesn't make it any easier for the human beings involved, both the idols and the fans who love them. Amidst the chaos and the management missteps, the most human element of the story emerged through Youngeun's own words. She didn't retreat into silence. Instead, she posted a heartfelt letter on social media that offered a glimpse into her state of mind. She spoke of her time since debut in 2022 as a dream, thanking the fans, Kep1er, for allowing her to be a brighter Youngeun. She acknowledged that her team activities were ending, but emphasized that the memories would remain meaningful. Crucially, she hinted at a future, stating she would prepare for the next chapter of her life. It was a mature, gracious farewell that lacked any bitterness, even if the circumstances surrounding her exit were murky. Her message of hoping to return as someone fans could be proud of offered a sliver of hope, a promise that this wasn't the last the world would hear from her. The remaining members also tried to bridge the gap between the corporate narrative and the emotional reality. Kim Chae-yeon, the leader, took to the fan communication platform Bubble to address the situation directly. Her message was telling. She clarified that this wasn't a decision forced upon Youngeun. Rather, it was something Youngeun had been contemplating for a long time. For fans desperate for a villain, this was a curveball. It's easy to blame a malicious company for kicking a sick idol out, but it's much harder to process the reality of a young woman simply choosing to prioritize her own life and well-being over the grueling demands of fame. Chaehyun's reassurance that it was Youngeun's choice brought a strange kind of comfort, validating her agency in a situation where idols often feel like pawns. Chaehyun told fans it was okay to cry, but gently nudged them to return to their daily lives, a plea for stability in a fandom that had been rocked by too many changes.